Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for March 22nd, 2023 to order. This time, I'd like to note the role of a quorum.
Larry Carino,
Here.
Jim Ake,
Here.
Mayor Cook.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Call the meeting to order at 1:01 p.m. on Wednesday. First item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from February 22nd, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the minutes from February.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes as read or stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. We have no bid approvals today, and we'll go right into contract agreements. And action item number 2, signing authority for 2023 striping project. Michael.
Yes, so this is the signing authority for our annual pavement marking project. So we go through the city-wide and refresh our pavement markings yearly. And so we have the signing authority so that John can sign the contract once we get our quotes back from our contractor to do the restriping. So this is just signing authority so he can sign the contract and we don't have to wait till the next meeting after we get our bids back. And so those should be back about sometime in the middle of April.
Any questions? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the signing authority for 2023 striping project signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next action item is signing authority for 2023 concrete street patching. I guess Michael.
Yes, very similar item to the one before this. This is for our concrete street patching program. Typically annually, we'll set aside some money to go into the couple of concrete road subdivisions that we have in Westfield and repair the broken panels of concrete in there. So we typically right now are soliciting quotes for that project, which should be back on Friday. And so this will give John the signing authority to sign those contracts once we get our quotes back on Friday.
How many neighborhood? Do we have 2 or 3?
Well, so we have 2 larger subdivisions, and then we have another one that's just a cul-de-sac. That's concrete. Bokeela. Yeah. So this is mostly Westfield Farms, and then there's a little bit of Bridlewood in this contract.
This will be continuous.
Correct. Yes. This will take care of most of the problem in Westfield Farms, and then Bridlewood will be continuous.
Yeah.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'd consider a motion.
So moved?
I'll second. All those in favor of approving the concrete street patching signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Action item number 4. I'm not going to pronounce this right, so it's Villa Lucy Incorporated and City of Westfield dedication of public right-of-way. Is this Jonathan Nail?
Yeah, I'll cover
And
this
can you pronounce that for me?
Jim, can you pronounce that for us? Villa Lici? I'd
Lici.
say my Italian's a little rusty, but Villa Lici seems right to me.
Okay.
So this is, as you may recall, on other developments where we require A-cell, D-cell, and passing blisters on along thoroughfares. This is a right-of-way dedication for a passing blister. There's a daycare proposed on this parcel on the east side of Grassy Branch, and the dedication is for a passing blister in relation to the entrance to that daycare development. So our standard documentation and simply a dedication that you are accepting the public right-of-way so that we can get a passing blister installed as part of this development.
Okay. Any questions for Jonathan? I'd make a motion to approve action item number 4.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of action item number 4 signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Action item number 5, City of Westfield and Baumgardner Asphalt Goods and Services Contract for 2023 resurfacing projects.
Yep. So this is our goods and services contract for our 2023 resurfacing program. We opened bids on this a couple weeks ago. We had 5 bidders on this project. The low bid was Baumgardner. They came in approximately $200,000 under estimate, which was good news. We were able to include, our contract was structured such that we had a base bid plus some alternatives if we had additional funds available based on our bids. And so we were able to award a couple of those alternatives in with our project and still be within our budget range. So this contract is inclusive of those alternatives is about $2.68 million. So this would be the contract so that we can award it to Baumgardner and they can get started this summer.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions from Michael?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
So you've added some other locations because of the bid.
Correct, yeah, well, it was included in the bid.
Yeah.
We had a base package and then
Then
we
you
could
were
add
able to
some
add
more.
some
And we were able to
locations.
add a couple of small subdivisions. Yep.
Why don't you send all of those people a letter on that list that because of your skill in getting under budget, they're now getting resurfaced this summer?
We can certainly do that.
Is that that's alternate 1 and alternate 2 in section D?
Correct, yes. Alternate 1 is portion of Brookside subdivision. Alternate 2 is Sutter's Run subdivision off of 146.
And I do have a question on section F. There's an option 1, traditional invoices, 45 days, and then an option 2, preferred. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's our standard goods and services contract. It's just the way in which they get paid. There are 2 options. I think we've worked with the clerk treasurer in the past on the best way to invoice that. Typically, I would say they provide invoices as they put material down and we certify it, and then we pay within, at the next city council claims docket, we'll pay out that invoice. But
Okay, so option 2 isn't really viable. I mean, we can't go to them and say if we give you a credit card, we get 5% discount or anything?
yeah, that was a carryover, I think, from some past processes that we've had. It's still in our standard goods and services contract. From my experience being in the seat, typically we receive an invoice and pay it out after council, though.
Okay.
I don't know,
just wondering if we
Kim, if
could-
you have anything to add, if you were involved in that at all, but that's how it's been typically.
Just wondering if we could get a discount by paying in 7 days, that's all. So, that's all I have.
Okay, very good. I'd entertain a motion for action item number 5.
So
moved.
Yep.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of action item number 5, City of Westfield and Baumgartner Asphalt, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. All right. Moving on to action item number 6, City of Westfield and Morphe Construction, Goods and Service Contract, 196th Street Road Reconstruction.
Yes, so this is the goods and services contract for the reconstruction of 196th Street between East Street and Grassy Branch, and inclusive of Grassy Branch between 196th Street and basically that northern property line of that parcel there. This contract also includes the installation of a traffic signal at East Street on the west end of the project limits. So this project, we opened bids on this a couple weeks ago. We had 3 bidders. Low bid was for Morphe Construction. That came in at $4,070,000, which was right around our engineer's estimate for the project. So this contract would award that to Morphe Construction for them to get going on the project, hopefully this summer. But that'll be dependent upon our pre-construction meeting with them.
Any questions? Larry?
Where in the contract is that figure?
The $4 million
$4 million.
should be right on the front. Zoom in. Yeah, right there. Yeah, first page,
Oh, okay.
section D, yep.
I got it, okay.
I'd make a motion to approve action item number 6, City of Westfield and Morphe Construction Goods and Services Contract.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving action item number 6 signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Then we have action item number 7, which has been tabled, so we won't be hearing that today. And then we move into the consent agenda with the bond information. I'd make a move to approve the consent agenda as stated.
Mr. President, this is Manny. Just
Second?
before we get to that,
Did you have some comments?
just really quick, I would like there to be a
All right,
motion
so
to table number 7.
we have a motion to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as stated signify by saying aye. Aye.
Can you guys hear Manny? Manny's
No.
talking right now.
Manny's asking that you make a motion to table the encroachment permit. Yeah,
Oh,
Action item.
which you can do after
Yeah, we need
consent.
Oh, okay.
You can do that.
we need to,
I can't hear you, Manny. Just a second.
I make a
Well-
motion to table item number 7.
I'll second.
All those in favor of tabling action item number 7 signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Action item number 7 is tabled. And then I lost track of the consent agenda, but I made a motion to approve the consent agenda. And all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Consent agenda is approved, and then we move into the department reports, and fire is ready. Chief Gaylor.
Good afternoon. Looking at the February report, couple highlights. We averaged 13.78 responses per day, which is up a run per day over 2022. By and large, when we compare February of '22 to February of '23, we're up over 6.9% in our call volume. One of the cool things about the month of February is we had our folks deliver a baby along 31. And I got to speak to it this morning a little bit. They all received an award from the state in recognition from the state of Indiana for delivering a baby on the highway. So just want to congratulate those ladies and gentlemen that were involved with that call. Doesn't happen very often. In the whole state last year, it only happened 28 times. So something pretty unique, and we had a ceremony last week to recognize them and to get them their pins. So
And although she's a Kokomo resident, her birth certificate reads
Westfield, absolutely.
That was a Stork Award, wasn't it?
Yeah, Stork Awards. I'm not going to read you all the numbers out of the report, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
Are we keeping up?
Define keeping up. We're taking calls. How about that? We're busier than we were last year, and last year was a record year. So keeping up is debatable, but we're taking a lot of runs.
But you have how many new firefighters coming this year?
So we actually on Monday get to bring in and go through some HR stuff with 15 new members to the organization. So we're excited about that. The actual Recruit Academy kicks off April 3rd. And we're doing a joint academy with some other agencies. There will be 31 folks in the academy. And we're doing the first 6 weeks here, which is the EMS portion. And then the next 12 weeks will be split between Hamilton County and Boone County in various places.
So adding 15 this year.
Yep. 12 of
And
those
you
are new
will-
positions, and 3 of those are for recent retirees.
And we're adding by fall, 1 new ambulance.
One new
into-
ambulance. Actually, the ambulance is going to be here April the 6th or the 7th. And it's a new unit to us. It's a Fraser ambulance, and they're built out of an area around Houston, Texas. So the first one in this part. So we're excited to get that new unit and get it.
And
in
let's be
service.
clear, when you say new, it is new, but this is adding ambulance number 3
That is correct.
to service.
That is correct.
So we're adding a whole new unit as part of your,
Yep. We're going to run
EMS.
out of Station 3,
yep.
and we look for that to come online this fall. Absolutely.
So it'll take till fall to equip it and man it?
We got to get these folks out of recruit class, yes.
Ah, okay.
Thanks.
Well, thank you. Police?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to take just a few minutes, if I could, to talk about 2022. The report should be in the, right there it is. But first of all, just like to talk about, you know, as the city grows, we're over 50,000 people now, growing every day. And I just want to talk about, you know, the police department currently stands at 69 officers. So we've done a really good job, I think, with the support of the mayor, the support of all of our councils, really keeping up with that growth. Being at 69 is really, and you're not going to hear this from very many police chiefs, but we're right where we need to be today. Now, we have in the pipe 3 more to hire this year, which keeps us in line with where we should be. As long as we continue to do that from year to year, we're looking pretty good. That being said, we welcomed about 6 officers last year: Daniel Trump, Aaron Byerly, Andrew Dawson, Ingrid Ortega, John Lanning, and Nicholas Clapp to our team. We also spent a lot of time in 22 really just trying to lay the foundation for the future. We decentralized a lot of things across the board and added a lot of new positions, which you've been part of for us. And I'd just like to recap some of this stuff. We put 2 new major positions in, 1 new captain. We added an administrative lieutenant. And doing all that, we had to add 2 lieutenants, 3 sergeants. We also added 2 criminal investigators. We added a person to our SWAT team. We added a negotiator to our SWAT team, 1 records assistant. We added 2 chaplains. We put together a team of road evidence techs. So there's a road evidence tech on each shift. And then we also added a school resource officer all last year. So no one can say we're stagnant, that's for sure. Along with that, we placed Detective Brett Bays on a task force, this FBI white collar task force, white collar crime. So he was sworn in actually as a deputy U.S. Marshal, and he's part of that task force now. He really works here, but he's liaison with that group. So we get the benefit of what that group can bring to us, but we don't really lose him. So it's a win-win for us. We relaunched our Honor Guard team. Due to retirements, we have lost several of the Honor Guard, the original team, so we added to that. Due to COVID, we'd stopped a lot of our outreach, which, as you know, is one of our most important things that we do. So last year, we were able to bring back the Citizens Academy along with the Jake Laird Community Day. The other thing we did last year was we established our special service unit. What that is a team consisting of a sergeant and 2 officers. What that team's responsible for, they're deployed as a resource to both support both investigations and our patrol division. They go out and they target specific crimes that were, quite frankly, falling through the gaps before. Using tools that we have now that we didn't have before, analytics, technology, and the surveillance. So, and they're a very active group right now. Bringing up the actual report, just wanted to highlight a couple things. One of those things are just to take a look at the crime that we had, the UCR reported crime. And I just want to do a quick comparison. In 2022, we had 698 reported UCR crimes. And what I want to just bring your attention that if you look back, 10, 12 years ago, 2011, we had 706. That's with a population of just over 28,000 people. The 698 was actually lower than that, and we have over 50,000 people. Which when you really correlate that to crimes per 1,000 residents, you're less likely to be involved in a major crime now than you were 12 years ago. Another thing to keep in mind is we've done, when I say we've done really good keeping up with our growth. If you look at the total sworn officers, back in 2011 we had 40, and now we have 69. Officers per 1,000 residents used to be 1.4, and we're still staying right with that, 1.36. So we're right where we really need to be. Taking a look at some of those crimes, UCR, if you really look at things, homicide, rape, robbery, these UCR comparisons are really our 7 to 9 major crime categories. Robberies, we had 3, which is down 3 from 21. If you look across the board, really, we're staying fairly flat through the years. Some places we've increased, some places some of the categories we've decreased. If you look at like batteries, aggravated batteries, they are up. You look at 2020, or 2019 to 2020, you went from 172 to 231, and then it's just increased like crazy since then. So some could say that's COVID related. I kind of think it is. I think it has a lot of things. It's COVID related, being that I think things just changed. When we got used to being inside and not going to work, and I think that kind of shows itself on this. And the other thing I think is causing some of this is just the economy. Crimes are up, our burglaries are up. The burglaries are up. If you look at 2019, 13, 2022, 38. A lot of that has to do also with our constructions. Our construction is on increase, obviously. A lot of these are home burglaries that no one's living in the home, but they're finished, so people go in and they steal things before they're occupied. The other thing, quickly, I wanted just to bring up, and this is really the last thing I want to hit on, is our school patrols substation visits. Because I'm really proud of this. We're not like a lot of other cities that have school resource officers in every single school. We do have plenty. We have 2 in the high school, 1 in intermediate, 1 in middle school. But we also have a program that most don't, and that's this: school patrols and substations within our schools. And if you look at it, 2018, 2019, we had 1,280 school visits, and the last school year we had over 4,500. That's the officers going to the schools and being present. And I think that's a good use of our resources, very efficient, so. Does anyone have any questions for me in relation with the 22 report?
Joel, you know, with so much in the news with mentally ill people, what sort of training are our guys going through to deal with a mentally ill person?
Yeah, we do have, we call it CIT training. It's week-long training that we have that to really arm the officers with the information they need to be able to deal with people in crisis. So it is a mandatory thing. Obviously, we still have the de-escalation and all that too.
Do we have professionals that go out on calls, or is that a resource that's available to the officers? Like if they get a case where they can't quite handle something, do they have that resource?
That's a great question. We do not yet. We are actually looking into that along with the fire department. But as of right now, we do not have like a social worker
Right.
that goes out. We do have in place, I'm going to back up a little bit, because if you look at what we call immediate detentions, that's someone's do harm to themselves or others. Those are an increase. We have had, from 21 to 22, they doubled. And we're seeing an awful lot of it recently. On those particular cases, there's two different levels of them. There's some that we're assisting the fire department, and I might let Rob come up and talk about what they've done externally. But we do have a team of people that go out, not necessarily when the actual crisis is occurring, but after the fact. There's different levels to it. There's some patients, I'm going to call them patients because it's a mental, it's a medical emergency, really. There are some levels of that when they're in the crisis mode that it is a police matter, not necessarily a fire matter, but there are a lot of them that are not that level yet, and we are approaching it differently than what we used to. It's definitely becoming a societal issue, which I don't have all the answers to yet, but we are working hand in hand to try to figure that out. Best way to give these people the service that they need. Did you want to talk about what you're doing, Rob?
Yeah, like Chief's saying, part of, the one of the pieces in the puzzle is mental health and behavioral wellness is a challenge across the country. And two things, there's a bill in legislation right now to require training for both police and fire initially and annually. It's down going through the State House now. So I think that's going to come out. It's going to be required for all of our officers and public safety folks to have another level of training on top of, to recognize, to help assist in crisis intervention. And then one of the things that we have done is brought in a social worker into the fire department. And Jamie has many specialties, and the biggest thing is her ability, her networking. The resources that she brings to the table for the patient is stuff that we had heard about, maybe, we didn't recognize, we don't know. So bringing someone into the organization to help out with that has definitely been a plus. And to Chief's point, in that time frame, we respond to 122 behavioral health, mental illness type calls. He sees about 3 times that because his team will de-escalate that before we get the call. We're on the more intense ones as both agencies, and so that's where we get the follow-up. The odd ones that his team goes on, we're working together in the simple fact that he's got folks on his team that reach out to folks on our team to say, hey, we need to do a follow-up with this patient for X, Y, and Z. And that's where we get Jamie and some other folks in the community and in the state involved on, hey, here's a referral for an individual to get into some treatment or some other care and things like that. That prior to having Jamie on our team, we didn't have the capabilities of doing that. I think, it's still your platform, Chief, but I think it is a need in both sides of public safety, both pieces of public safety, because it's becoming more and more of a strain on both of our agencies, right? His folks ID or detain somebody. We're taking one of our transporting units out of service to take them to a receiving hospital to get them treatment, or he's taking a unit out of service to take them to that facility out of treatment. I mean,
Just depending on what level they're at.
what's the best model and the best practice, and what are the limitations? Some of it's legislation, some of it's policy, but at the end of the day, it's resources. What resources are available for the individual?
We're fortunate here in Westfield to have, two guys like you leading, this kind of an effort, and I certainly want to thank you, and everyone in the city should be thanking you guys.
Yeah, I think it's not perfect by any means right now, but we've had discussions as early as this morning. We're constantly trying to think, what's the best fit? What's the best fit for our city? What can we afford to do? What's realistic at this point? But we are coming together as a team and trying to figure it out. We both talked to the mayor about it at the beginning of the year, or actually it was last year, and he's like, let's get it done. Let's get it done. So that it's one of our priorities right now. Because like you said, it is something that we're seeing a huge increase in. And it's hitting our teams, stress-wise. They can be very volatile calls, very stressful calls. And we have to make sure we're taking care of our team so they can take care of others. And I can end on this. One of the ways we're doing that, with the help of Jeremy, we've partnered with Pro Team Tactical, who before has really been a partner with us just for physical injuries, bringing us back, can go between workman's comp, trying to fix our team so they can get back on the street as quickly as possible. Well, they've launched a new platform for mental health. They have a team of counselors that, in a timely fashion, can see our people and start giving treatment. And they have some mobile apps for us to use too. So, but Jeremy's helped spearhead that this year, and we definitely appreciate that, because, like I said, we have to continue watching out for our people and making sure that their glasses aren't full, so to speak. And so that's kind of where we're at with that, though.
Thank you. All right, thanks, Joe.
That was a long answer to your question. No, it's fantastic. No.
Quite honestly, it's a great question, and we have to do something as a city to fix this, because it's broke right now. So thank you.
And I expect, as you two know, and Jeremy, to lead the charge in this thing. I can simplify it. We're addressing mental and emotional, first with our employees, secondly with our citizens, and thirdly, you guys are going to figure out how to prevent this from happening in our city, right? We've done it before with the youth assistance program. We can do it again.
All right, thank you. Public Works.
So as you can tell from our agenda today, we've been spending the last month bidding a bunch of projects out with really good success, so that's encouraging. One person I'd like to introduce you to is a new hire in Public Works. Wayne Bunnell is a project engineer that we just started last Monday. So Wayne, if you just want to familiarize yourself with Wayne's face, he's working with Michael and going to help Michael out on the engineering side of things with engineering design, some project management, and some other items to help our engineering team continue to move projects forward. So really happy to have Wayne on board. So in addition to the bids we talked about today in the agenda, we also bid out 161st and Oak last Wednesday. That low bid came in at $2.01 million, which is right in line with our expectations. E&B Paving was the apparent low bidder on that. I will just say that we've worked with them quite a bit in the past. They're a good contractor to work with, and we're excited about moving forward with that project. And then also on that same Wednesday letting was the State Road 32 demolition contract for the buildings that need to be demolished in advance of that roadway widening through our downtown. That bid came in $300,000 under the engineer's estimate, or almost 30% under the estimate, which is fantastic. I will say demolition contracts are really hard to estimate because there are a lot of factors that could make one building more difficult or easier than another. And when you have several buildings in place, it can be hard to estimate that, but we were very happy with the bids we received on that letting as well. And then lastly, I'll just point out, spring, with the warmer weather, we shift gears on the street department. So we look to start doing stone shouldering and patching as our asphalt plants start to fire back up in the spring. We start to get temperatures that allow us to pave again. You'll be looking out to see some of Westfield folks doing that work, as well as Grand Park Boulevard. I've been assured by the contractor working with the Wheeler Landing developer that roadway is first on their list to get surfaced and striped and completed first thing this spring. So look out for those projects coming, and I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you, Jonathan.
When do you expect 161st roundabout to start?
The contract has it in August. I think it's like August 17th. Don't hold me to that exact date, but and we are trying to line it up so that I think I mentioned at the last meeting that NDOT has a 32 bridge over Cool Creek project that's going to be going this summer. We are very careful not to have a closure of 161st Street at the same time. So we shifted our project to allow for NDOT to finish that up, open 32 up, and then we'll close 161st Street for no longer than 60 days per the contract to complete that roundabout. You will see some work on the legs of Oak Road in advance of that date. So the contract structured that just 161st Street cannot be closed at the same time as the 32 closure. But you may see some short-term closures on Oak Road as we get drainage structures and pipe in place while keeping traffic open on 161st Street.
There actually is today on that one. So.
Yeah, and that's actually a separate project. That's a Citizens Energy Group sewer lining project, and that should last about 2 weeks. So it's a lining project to make sure the pipes are still structurally sound and can still carry the fluid that is necessary to leave your home and to the wastewater treatment plant, keeping those in good condition. So they are pretty quick on those projects, and I would expect it to be about 2 weeks.
And at the risk of asking another question, what's the status of waste management? Has that improved? I know there were some issues with Ray. As a matter of fact, I got a bunch of phone calls with the closure on Oak Street yesterday morning. Apparently, they decided not to have the recycle guy go down Oak Street. So a lot of people on the Pines and Oak Manor are really upset that they didn't get their recycle picked up. So.
Yeah, I would say just generally speaking, those coordination efforts are ongoing with waste management. I don't want to.
Well put.
I don't want to give. I'm not involved heavily in those discussions. I know guest services is heavily involved in working with Waste Management. And Jeremy looks like he's coming up to give you more detail on that.
Mayor can probably update you as well. But yes, guest services has a daily call with those folks, and then also a weekly call with their customer service people. It is an ongoing process. They are continually rolling out new softwares to both communicate with the residents as well as with the city, and make it more user efficient for you all for reporting issues and things like that. But it's not perfect yet. They are hitting about 98 to 99% accuracy on pickup every day. But we've still got a little bit of work to do, and I think it's primarily the communication nature. They don't have a fluid way to communicate to residents that they're not getting picked up or they're not getting service, and they're working to fix that now.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Anything else? I'd
Move to adjourn?
I'll second. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you.